Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, kings across the world. This is Joseph Perkins with Grown Man University. New year, happy new year to each and every one of y'all who come back to our YouTube channel. Bless those who've been patronizing us on YouTube and Instagram and also Facebook. Kings, I pray that everyone is blessed, is safe. Those who do need or going through trying times, especially the weather being changing in California, the amount of rain California is getting, the amount of snow that Buffalo is getting. And those who are across the pond, across the world, that's in London, that's in Brazil. Pray for the brothers and sisters that's in Brazil right now going through an upheaval. Continue to keep praying for those that's in Ukraine right now. That's continuously, we don't even think about it. It's still a war. People, it's still a war. Russia and Ukraine are still fighting each other to this day. Ukraine president came over here, got $45 billion and came back to still fight a war. They're still fighting for the last half a year. Let's continue to keep praying for those who lost loved ones on this past 2020 year, and also that's lost lives in the first 3 weeks of this year. King, I want to continue a teaching that we all need to continuously understand about our blind spots. We're going to call this Blind Spots Part 3. Blind Spots Part 3. And I want to give 3 points that definitely as kings, as leaders, as business owners, as fathers, as husbands, confidants, that we got to be aware of. That people may be affected by these blind spots. The first one is an ego that's out of control. Woo. The acronym ego, edging God out, is one thing. It's another thing when you personally not just trying to edge God out, but you're just out of control with it. You don't care who gets affected by it. One nice thing about an egotistical person, which is crazy, oxymoron, and I get it, they don't talk about others as much as they talk about themselves. The price of pride is at the bottom of all great leaders. John Ruskin. Can you be aware when your ego, your behavior, your confidence, your ego, your personality, your behavior, your character becomes not just out of control. It starts affecting your life, affecting your decisions. Pride is the greatest enemy to every leader. One of the biggest mistakes a leader makes is not admitting that he made the mistake. Acknowledgement, accountability, action steps that make sure that people who are around us, that we lead, that we are governed, whether it's on our business, on our job, in our homes, we should be the first ones in line, being able to be accountable to ourselves, accountable to others when we make mistakes. I won't lie, in the beginning, younger Joe, I had a problem with it. More so being accountable. More so being accountable not just to my actions, but being accountable just to say I made the mistake. And be accountable to be able to fix it. Many of us kings don't want to fix the problems that we cause, let alone want to admit the fact that we did it. Admit your problems. Be accountable to the mistakes that you made in your day, because it comes from your choices. Couple of things about leaders, men, kings. When their ego get out of control, a lot of things happen. 1, they believe they know it all. 2, they believe they are in charge all the time. 3, they believe rules don't apply to them. We know a lot of people like that, don't we? Are you that one? Are you one of those kings that don't believe rules apply to you? or rules don't apply to you that even your wife, even your daughter, or even your son, or even your job boss implements on you. It doesn't require you to follow them. Kings who have ego out of control feel like they will never fail. They also believe that they can do it all by themselves. They also, with great tenacity, believe that they're better than the little people and that they are the organization. King, I implore you, I urge you, I encourage you, always audit your behavior, audit your actions, audit your emotions, that you don't have an ego that is out of control. It's one thing to have confidence. It's one thing to be self-confident, self-employing energy and behavior that you can do things. You are better than just average, or you are more extraordinary than extraordinary. But it comes to a point where as though you don't want to get into the realm where as though that people are being disrespected, people are not being valued, people are not being loved because of your ego. When a pride hits a king, instead of taking responsibility, he blames others. When a pride hits a king, instead of being objective, he's always demoralizing others. When a pride hits a king, instead of him being open-minded and receptive, he is more closed-minded and more defensive. Let me tell you something. I was the king of being defensive. I spoke defensive. I walked defensive. I had the mindset of defensive. Growing up in Bronx and Baltimore, Maryland, majority of my life, when you get to understand the streets, you had to be on the defensive and have your mind on a swivel every single time, because you never knew who was behind you ready to beat you up, rob you, or kill you. I didn't like authority. I didn't like cops. I hated cops when I was younger. Did not like authority at all. I wouldn't disrespect them. I just didn't like them. That's one thing about me. I won't disrespect no man, no king, no woman, no child unless you ask for it. But my thing about it was, it didn't matter who it was. Even if you was my own blood, you caught it. If I didn't like what you said, I was defensive about it. If you thought out my style, my change, or things I needed to modify or to change about my life, my behavior, my vocabulary, oh yeah, you caught it. And you caught it very well. If I was speaking my piece in my mind about something or so forth and kept getting interrupted, oh my goodness, you really caught it. And it took me a while, and also therapy, to understand I had to get out of defense mode. Speaking defensively, acting defensively, heck, even sitting defensively. So I know many of us kings who, if you don't get that checked out, if someone does point that out, be aware to go get therapy. Be aware to get professional help to help you get through that. Because you can't just get through that by yourself. And it will affect everything you do. You got to think, when you speak defensively, you got to go to interviews. Majority of the interviews that you may ever go through, King, will maybe women. And you already know. Women have more intuition than us, and you got to realize, if you look defensively, you can sit defensively. Even if you sit in a power figure or power foundation, somebody gonna think you being defensive. Somebody gonna say, yo, you got to whoop my butt. And unfortunately, there is a proper way to have proper posture in every way, every sector of your life. When pride hits a king, Instead of being team spirited, he ends up being a lone wolf. Low morale is amongst the team everywhere. It's one thing about when a pride hits a team, instead of flexibility, he's had rigidity. Ain't no flexibility, ain't no open-mindedness, ain't no fluidity amongst the team. It's always rigid because they want to have control over it. Ego-minded kings always want to have control of everything, even the people they love and they related to, and that were even born from them. When pride hits a king, instead of loyalty, a team experiences a high turnover rate. And finally, when a pride hits a king, instead of being connected, he finds himself out of touch with his client, his customer, and the community he's trying to reach, because pride causes him to think it's all about him when it really is about everyone else. Second thing, a lack of character. A lack of character is a blind spot king. Whew. Character keeps you indoors. Character opens the doors. Character opens dialogue when you're not there. Character is your report card when people think, and they think of Joseph, when they think of Matt, when they think of Sean, when they think of Jason, when they think of Ernest, when they think of Earl. Every other words that come after that is your character. The beauty about character, especially if you got real character in your heart and you gave good character, people will defend your character when you're not even there, when you're not present, or you can't speak up for yourself. Even when you're ill, on your sick deathbed, people will fight for you when you have great character. People will go to war for you when you have great character. People will donate and give to you when you have good character. People will embody your vision quicker when you have good character. When your values, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions are all aligned, a person becomes even a king, becomes more focused, and their character strengthens times 10 each and every time. Your character king is the sum total of all of your everyday choices. So choose wisely. Lastly, when it comes down to having blind spots, living in our weak zone instead of our strength zone makes blind spots even more blinding. In short, basically, know your strengths. Take tests to understand your strengths. Hear good counsel, even if it's from the dishwasher, all the way to your wife, all the way to your children, all the way to a server, all the way to the CEO. If someone says, you know what, you really can do that, you really are good at that, and you hear that multiple times, note take that. I implore you to take a couple of tests. Myers-Briggs test. Also take a test called Strength Finder 2.0. You want to find out what you are really good at, and you want to find out what you're really weak at. And let me tell you something very clearly. It is very empowering, in my opinion, to ask the questions around everyone who's been around me more than a year. What you think my weakness is? And please don't sugarcoat it. And listen. Listen to what they're going to tell you. Because I'm telling you, they will give you that wisdom. You know what? You are a trash organizer. You know what? You are good at power, but you are weak in implementation. Or you know what? You are good in accounting, yet when it comes down to cooking, you trash. Take inventory on what even stuff that you've done and tried multiple times and you're not good at, and stuff that you've done and you're good at and someone told you both ways, your weaknesses and your strengths. And it was authentic with you, and you want that. You want them to be authentic with you, King, so that you can assess going into 2023, third week of the year, so you don't go into February, March, April, May, and June and get to the half of the year and you still don't know your strengths and weaknesses. You still don't know what you're really good at, or you just are just walking in blind spots, thinking that you are fine and you're not. Kings, I implore you, take this understanding, take this teaching, bless another king. Share this video with another king, another son, another father or uncle who might be going through those same 3 blind spots. Help them become better. Kings, you can reach us at TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Look up Grown Man University. Be blessed. God bless.